days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, right at you. You give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.
Well, Kirk Cameron, who is a giant of a Hollywood actor and just a brilliant mind, and I'm being completely sarcastic, had this to say about public schools. To your point, Rachel Bitecofer, play it.
If we outsource our parenting because it's easier, or we believe the lie that we're not qualified experts to educate our kids, so we have to subcontract our parenting and discipleship out to the government, we're going to have little kids that come back as little Marxists, little statists, little atheists, drag queens, strippers, drug dealers, and you name it. Pull your kids out of the schools that are teaching your kids bad things and put them into places that teach them good things.
Good things, bad things. Who gets to determine that? So there's another layer of how they're moving towards getting rid of the Department of Education, is this notion that this is where your children learn all of these evil things like democracy and history and yes, acceptance of all kinds of people and sharing and caring, the actual tenets of Christianity. They really get to learn that playing out in public schools. He wants all of that out. And I'm sure there's going to be this kind of, if you homeschool, you'll get money from the government. Like each homeschool parent will get an extra check. You know, JD Vance is talking about that extra child credit for people who have children. They're signaling something, Rachel, very loudly.
I just want to take a second and make sure your audience knows that the Democrats have been trying to re-expand. They expanded it temporarily under COVID, but re-expand the child tax credit. They just had a vote. Schumer controls the Senate. Democrats introduced a bill to do so, and Republicans voted it down. And JD Vance didn't even bother to show up to vote on it. So I just want to make sure people know that. But yeah, that clip that you just played, that's the heart of it. And they understand this. So Karen, you're right. They have these public voucher programs where they're trying to pay you to homeschool your kid, but they're not dummies. They know that most parents aren't going to do that because frankly, most parents don't want to have their kids all the time. I know I was one of those before I ended up with in my new role. And they're not going to, no one's going to take their kids in homeschool. Very few people will take advantage of that. They have to control the public school curriculum if they want children to not be exposed to things like diversity, indigenous rights for gay people. That's the thing that they don't, that education right now is teaching them facts, right? So but it has a liberalizing effect. I mean, education is liberalizing. It's just by its nature it is, right? Small L, not big L liberalism. And that's what they understand. It's straight out of the Nazi playbook. I know I keep coming back to that, but again, that's what I study now for 4 years. But the Nazis understood that if you don't interfere at that 5 to 18 level and set the mindset, then it's much, much harder to control people. They cannot control education when there's a Democrat in the White House and the Department of Education is there. They can make a lot of changes with a Trump Project 2025 and either a crippling of or an ending of DOE.
So the Hitler Youth, that whole program that actually had camps in the United States where you sent your children away to become good Nazis, the little brown shirts and all that, there's a version of that coming.
Yes.
And it's in Project 2025. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, in where they can, in Oklahoma and other places, Louisiana with the 10 Commandments, right? That stuff is they're already getting it micro started in some of the red states that they control. And, it's about It's about getting that separation of church and state eradicated, right? So here's one thing I would say about the Nazis. It's not just that they had all these camps. They had Hitler Youth and they had the German Girls Front, right, where they were heavy indoctrination. But those things were out extracurricular. They knew the schools mattered the most. Trump has promised to go in and ideologically purge our universities and in this education proposal section on Agenda 47 on his website, so you can read it yourself. They want to subject our teaching faculty to make sure that they have patriotic American views, which means not real patriotic American views like freedom of speech, democracy, and tolerance and diversity. They mean their MAGA distorted patriotism, which is an inversed patriotism. It's nationalism, right? And so, my assumption is if we were to fail and to lose, which is why I've been carrying that doom cloud on me for months, we would very quickly see them starting to purge schools. And once a purge starts, folks, people have bills to pay. So it's not like the Nazis had to go purge everyone, okay? They just had to purge one or two, and the rest of them shut up and got in line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's it. And it's what you're saying is so very real. It's so very real, which is why I was clear that if Biden wasn't breathing, I was still going to vote for him. 866. No, I just was clear about what's at stake. 866-801-8255. Especially people that come from bondage should really not should really not be staring down the barrel of bondage and being okay with it. Blacks for Trump. You really shouldn't be like, okay, ADOS or people foundational, but with people who come from bondage shouldn't be like, yay, let's elect the person that might put us back in bondage, because it's going to look different, but maybe worse.
My days are cooler, nights are warmer, and I put the blame on you. Time moves slow, but my heart beats faster. When these eyes are looking right at you, you give me something to believe in, just what I needed. You're the closest.